After the crushing victories at Yarmouk in the west and Qadsiya in the east, the banner of Islam stood tall over two collapsing empires. But Hazrat Umar knew the mission was not complete. He wrote two letters, one to Abu Ubaidah, commanding him to march towards the blessed city of Jerusalem, the lands of Prophet, which I already explained in my previous video. Go watch that. And the other letter to Saad bin Abi Waqqas, ordering him to advance toward the mighty Persian capital Ctesiphon, known as Madain. Two letters, two fronts, two historic victories, one opening the gate of Jerusalem and the other bringing down the throne of Yazdigar. Jerusalem conquest was the turning point. With Jerusalem secured, the Muslims moved swiftly across Syria, Damascus, Amasa, Aleppo. City after city fell as the banner of Islam rose over Sham. The Battle of Yarmouk had already shattered Byzantine power, and now the province of Syria came under Muslim control. The people, tired of Byzantine taxes and corruption, often welcomed the Muslim. The simplicity of Umar's rule and the justice of Islam became a reality in these lands. Syria, the heartland of Byzantine power in the east, was now free. But while Syria fell quiet, a storm was rising in the east. The Persian capital Madain, known to Romans as Ctesiphon, the seat of Persian kings, still stood proud. With its mighty arch and golden hall, was a symbol of Persian glory for centuries. And now Saad bin Abi Waqqas was about to change the history forever. Back in the west, Emperor Heraclius summoned the Christian Arab tribe of Al Jazeera, calling them down from Circesium and hit to strike at the plains of Syria. Their banner soon darkened the horizon around Amasa, where Abu Ubaidah held command. Within Amasa's walls, Khalid bin Walid urged, "Let us ride out and crush them now." But Abu Ubaidah, calm and cautious, replied, "Patience, O Saifullah, patience. Reinforcements are near." So the Muslims waited while Ayad ibn Gham and Habib ibn Maslama struck at the enemy bases. It resisted behind its moat and fell after hard struggle. Circesium, a Roman fortress, opened its gate without a fight. Byzantine flanks were crumbling. Then came Umar reinforcement, 4,000 under Qaqa bin Amr, men whose sword had already carved their legend. They had fought the Romans at Yarmouk, marched east to crush the Persian at Qadsiya, and now by command of the Khalifa, they returned once more to face Roman. With these veterans entered Syria, fear spread in the Roman camp. The Christian Arab allies, hearing also that their own land in Al Jazeera were burning under Muslim raids, lost heart. They broke from Mesa and fled north. Abu Ubaidah turned to Khalid, "Now go." The gates of Amasa flew open and Khalid's army stormed out in pursuit. The retreat became a massacre. The mobile guard cut them down mile after mile until the fugitive reached Antioch. There at the Iron Bridge, those same Roman detachment who had once marched east to Qadsiya stood again, only to be broken for the last time by the sword of Allah, Khalid bin Walid. With Syria secure, the Muslim tide surged forward. Amr bin As and Sharabil swept into Palestine. Abu Ubaidah and Khalid turned north. At Baalbek, the temple of Jupiter loomed over surrender. At Heliopolis, the gates fell swiftly. One by one, the last stronghold of Syria bowed before the banner of Islam. After the fall of Amasa and Baalbek, the Roman Empire tried once more to rally its armies in northern Syria. At the banks of the Orontes river, not far from Antakya, they gathered in strength. Then the narrow bridge across the river became the key. If Muslims crossed, the road to Antakya lay open. Abu Ubaidah led the Muslim army with Khalid commanding the mobile guard. As the Roman gathered on the river bank, hoping the bridge would choke the advance, Khalid saw only opportunity. With sudden speed, he launched his army forward. The thunder of hoofs shook the earth. The Roman lines bent, then broke. Men who had once marched east to save Persia now found themselves driven into the Orontes, drowning beneath their own bridge. The slaughter was merciless. The river ran red. Antakya, the jewel of northern Syria, opened its gate without resistance. This ended the Roman dream of holding Syria. The soldier once sent to Cassia had come full circle, fleeing east to Persia, then back to Antakya, only to be crushed at the bridge by the sword of Allah, Hazrat Khalid bin Walid. While the thunder of hoofs shook the Orontes in the west, another storm was brewing in the east. In Iraq, Saad bin Abi Waqqas, commander of the Muslim army, was on the march toward Madain, the jewel of Persian Empire, the capital of Persia itself. The Muslim had already shattered the Persian at Qadsiya. Now Saad advanced slowly but firmly along the Tigris, determined to end centuries of Persian might. His soldiers carried the memory of Qadsiya with them, of elephant struck down, of night filled with fire, of river red with blood. Ahead of them lay Madain, with its legendary white palace glittering on the horizon. So, while Abu Ubaidah and Khalid struck down the Romans at the Iron Bridge in Syria, Saad and his men were preparing to tear out the very heart of Persia in Iraq. Who would have thought a small Muslim army would crush the two superpowers, Roman and Persian, at the same time? As the Muslims reached the outskirts of Madain, they saw the grand Persian palaces, towering structures, glittering domes, and the famed white palace of Ctesiphon stood like a symbol of centuries of power. Yet, behind its wall, Yazdigar III was in disarray, his advisors quarreling, his generals defeated, his treasury dwindling. Now the war begins. Saad bin Abi Waqqas laid siege to the city. For weeks, the Muslim cut off supply routes, fought small battles with Persian, and pushed the Persian back until Yazdigar III abandoned Ctesiphon altogether, fleeing deeper eastward towards Holwan. The once proud capital was leaderless. But why did he left his throne? To know his decision, we must know about Saad bin Abi Waqqas' daring decision. With unshakable faith, he commanded, "We are the soldiers of Allah. The river will not stop us." Thousands of Muslim warriors with their horses, armor and weapon plunged into the furious water. Imagine the scene. Lines of horsemen gripping their reins, waves crashing around them, men reciting the Quran as they rode across, their hearts steady with faith. The Persian watching from the wall could not believe their eyes. They thought no army could cross alive, but the Muslim rode as if the river itself had submitted to their march. Once crossed, they stormed to the outskirts of Madain. Panic gripped the Persian court. Yazdigar III, the young and last Persian emperor, saw that his empire heartbeat was about to fall. In the dead of night, he fled eastward, taking what treasure he could carry, leaving his people and palace behind. His flight broke the spirit of his capital. The Muslim entered Madain almost without resistance. What met their eyes was beyond imagination. Carpet stitched with gold, crowns encrusted with jewels, and halls glittering with treasure that spoke of centuries of Persian kingship. Most striking was the fabled white palace of Ctesiphon, a monument of Persian power. As the Muslims walked its vast halls, they remembered the prophecy of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, who had once said, "The treasures of Kisra will fall to my nation," and now that prophecy had come true before their eyes. Oil was so vast that the Arab who had once lived in poverty could not believe it. One of the wonders found was the famous carpet of Kisra, a golden woven from silk and gems, trees, rubies for flower and pearls for dew. Saad bin Abi Waqqas however, did not allow greed to overtake discipline. With honesty and justice, everything was collected and prepared to be sent to Medina to Khalifa Umar bin Khattab. When the caravans carrying the spoils of Madain reached Medina, the people could hardly believe their eyes. Never before had such treasure entered Arabia. Crowds gathered as the carpets, crowns, and vessels were laid before Khalifa Umar bin Khattab. Here, history records one of the most remarkable moments of leadership. Umar looked at the mountains of treasure, enough to tempt even the greatest of rulers, and tears filled his eyes. He turned to those around him and said, "The people who delivered this are truly trustworthy. They did not steal even a thread from it." He remembered the prophecy of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, who had once said, "The treasures of Kisra will fall to my nation," and now that prophecy had come true before his eyes. When someone asked, "O Amirul Momineen, are you surprised that they were honest?" Umar replied, "They were honest because you were honest with them. If I had betrayed, they too would have betrayed." Then Umar stood among the Muslims and addressed them, "The world has come to you and the nation will submit to you. Be aware, do not let this wealth corrupt you as it corrupted the nations before you." The jeweled carpet of Kisra was ordered to be cut into pieces and distributed among the Muslims, each man receiving his share. No king kept it for his throne, no general hoarded it for himself. The empire of Persia, built on palaces and treasures, had fallen not just to the sword of Muslims, but to their discipline, their unity, and their refusal to be dazzled by the world. And so, within just a few years, the impossible became reality. On one side, in the land of Syria, the gate of Jerusalem opened for the Muslim, the city of prophets, holy city to Jewish, Christians, and Muslims, came under protection of Islam with peace and justice, also taking the entire Syria. On the other side, in the heart of Persia, the glittering capital of Madain fell. The mighty white palace that once echoed with pride of kings now stood silent under the banners of Islam. From the desert of Arabia, within the lifetime of Hazrat Umar, two of world's greatest empires, the Byzantine in Syria and the Persians in Iraq, collapsed before the determination of faith, discipline, and courage. These were not just victories of sword, but victories of principles, humility, justice, and the promise of Islam to spread truth without oppression. And with these two victories, Jerusalem and Syria in the west and Madain in the east, the foundations of a new era were laid, an era where the words of Allah rose above palaces and thrones, and the dream of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam began to unfold before the eyes of the world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts below. Tell us in the comments which moment of these victories inspired you the most.